don't know if you ever seen Batman with Bane, and he's quiet and Bane just comes around to do the job. That's very much how I am. There's going to be a lot of raw cuts. Management is not superior to employees. They are actually beneath them, which is my first point that I want to point out. First of all, it is not management's job to fire anyone. And that goes for every field. It doesn't even matter if you're out of Mom or Pops, which is a small company. The management's job is not to come in and try and figure out 15 ways to construct a discharge to get rid of you, which basically is a nice way of saying that's not their job to come in here and figure out and write up 15 different write-ups to try and get rid of you just because they have a temper, and that's what we're going through a lot lately. Management's job is inventory. I know it differs between different companies, but mainly their job is to make sure that all their aces are in their places. Their job is not to babysit you. I know a lot of managers have got this misconstrued since they've started, but we're not at a daycare where people are supposed to be babysitting grown adults who came and got their job, and mostly you need your job to go off and pay your bills. They're supposed to be making sure that the inventory is together, that the whole, the project, the operation, the company, the restaurant, whatever, has all the materials that they need for the company to run, that they have all the materials that they need for their employees to run without stopping their job so that they can go about their business. That's what the management job is supposed to be for. It really does not entail any human resources. I mean, they are problem solve. They're all supposed to make sure, especially some managers are in charge of a schedule. So, we're supposed to make sure that our schedule works with the hours that you're available with. In my experience, usually when you're getting stressed from a manager and you're being abused is because they don't have money. And so I'm going to continue to talk about that throughout this video. But yeah, that's a misconception that just because they make a higher pay, which that is that's not always true, that they're able to abuse you. I don't know how we started thinking like that, but nobody cares what your title is. All we care about is how you treat us. I wish everybody would repeat that. The last warehouse I was at, the managers would say mean stuff that they didn't even need to say, like, you can clock out. And I would say stuff back to them because I used to be in this position, and I would say to them, you can practice what you preach. You know how hard it is for people to motivate themselves to go to a job that they really don't want to go to, but they're here anyways, and they're not cursing anybody out. They're having the best attitude that they can have, and they're working, and then you're going to tell people to clock out, and you're a bad manager, and you could clock out since you can't uplift any spirits around here. If they do not want to repeat what they're saying, they don't need to say it. If you went and got a management position to try and get some type of respect, extra money, or to try and control people with your title, you got the opposite. Usually, workers are going to mop a manager up. I'm just being honest with you. You got the opposite. Usually the word is that managers are doing the job that nobody else wants to do, and you're getting paid less, and you're doing more work. Yes, you are. You are. There's plenty of workers. I'm one. Once I was already a manager, and I realized that I could be a regular worker, and I can make 10 times more than, make $10 more than everybody else. That's what they do. That's what we do. And there's nothing wrong with it. In my opinion, is that my next point? Yeah. Management is a selfless position. People really don't understand that management, I am supposed to be doing my job, and if my workers are not here, I have to do their job too. The management is in charge of all of this. So really, my insubordinates, my workers are here to help me get my job together so my job can be smooth. Now, most good managers I work with, I was under, that I've learned from and all that, they usually come in and problem solve. They don't usually start any type of drama. They don't really have time for that. This job usually doesn't pay enough. So they come in, they're very quiet. They problem solve and they're gone. They're usually nowhere to be found because they're off doing their job, doing inventory, doing whatever paperwork they need to do, whatever. This is not going to pay all the bills. Most managers that were really good that I like their example, this would be like their third job. I'm telling you, that one management job, I know they might have lied to you, but it's not going to pay everything for you. When I was a manager of this photo company, from what I can remember is there's no talking. There's no talking. You can't talk like you can when you're a worker bee. But when you're a manager, you can't talk because it's too easy for you to lose your job, because it's too easy for you to catch lawsuits for the company. And so when it comes like a worker bee, they can talk a little bit more. But somebody who's a manager, you have to listen to the complaints from the people beneath you. You have to listen to the complaints from the people above you. And you have to figure out how to solve everybody's problems and you're not allowed really to complain back to them. They don't want to hear none of that. The job's not going to work. It's a very selfless position. I hate to bust your bubble, but work is not a place to be looking to make friends or to look to get a relationship. A romantic relationship is what I'm talking about. So first, let's talk about relationships. No tolerance. Absolutely none. None, period. None whatsoever. And I do kind of want to throw this. I don't know why this is popping up in my mind, but they always love to fake some write-ups, these managers, but they never write their own selves up when they're in the car doing a little bang-bangy with one of the employees. Do not start a relationship at work. Zero tolerance. And if you do, that's on you. The reason why people tell you not to start a relationship at work is because the fights that y'all have, it doesn't even matter if you're husband and wife. The fights that you're going to have when you're at work, one of you are going to bring that drama into work and tell all of your coworkers. And it's going to start more drama with your relationship at home. And a lot of people think that it's the woman who does that, but oftentimes it will be the man who does that too. They'll go to work and they'll complain and they'll talk about the problems that they're having with their spouse instead of talking to the real people they need to talk to, instead of talking to their spouse about the problems that they're having with them, or instead of talking to their family or a therapist, people who are actually going to help you with this problem, not the people at work who are going to gossip about your problem. The rule is, when you do meet somebody that you're dating at work and you want to date them, one of y'all have to go. Somebody has to quit the job. Somebody has to get another job. Somebody has to move departments. Somebody needs to transfer if you really want to try and save that relationship, while as well keeping your job. One of you are going to have to communicate and someone's going to have to split. You have your work friends. When you go to work, you have people there who are your friends. And now when I say this, let me backtrack a bit. Now, when I say work is not a place for you to be looking for friends, that does not mean that you go up there and just start mistreating everybody because nobody's your friend. It is true that you can have good co-workers and you can have good camaraderie with your workers. You can get along with the people that you work with, but I would not suggest you take these people home and go party with them, because the same thing. When you go party, when you go home, if y'all go hike on a mountain or whatever, if y'all go talk with each other on a trail, whatever y'all say with each other is not confidential. It's going to get back to your work staff, and gossip is going to go around. You are allowed to have good coworkers, but as older people tell us, as I was taught by my elders, is those are called your work friends. You know, you have your event friends, you have your dance friends, you have your bike friends. When one of the person leaves the company, you could be closer friends if you would like to be. But while you're at work, it's best to keep it safe and just be work friends. Let's remember why we go to work, okay? Because it's not punishment. And I apologize to those people who have been convinced that work is punishment. It's not punishment. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, if you do something that you love, you would never be bored for the rest of your days. I don't even think like that. For most of us, work is a stepping stone. A lot of people have big things going on for them outside of work. And I do not mind that while I'm working at this establishment, I'm helping the owner of this company get to their goals while they pay me. I save my own money up. I pay my bills, which is the main reason why we're at work. Most people want to go to work without harassment and pay their bills. And then I feed into my projects so I can own my own businesses, because that's my path and that's my goal. So everybody might not be on that. Some people might be on a career path where they want one job till retirement. Some people are not going to live like that. Some people are going to have multiple jobs till retirement. All are okay. There's not one that's better than the other. We're just going to do what works for you. But yeah, why do we go to work? For most people, it's a stepping stone. What's another reason why? For most people, they like to pay for their stuff. How hard is it for you to come to work, do your job, get your money, go home? There's nothing else that I get from work. And I don't go up there hating it. I'm actually, just try and make it to a break. Then try and make it to the next break. And then we got one more break, and then you can go home and you can count your money. And that used to make people feel better. Some people in my country act like things don't cost money. And I'm just realistic. I'm aware that things cost money. But yeah, no, some people will talk to me. This is where I'm going to go into my next points. Some people will talk to me and they'll try to convince me to be lazy, and that's never going to happen. So you have worker bees, and you have clones. So you have worker bees and you have clones. And so for some of those people who have seen Star Wars, you're probably already familiar with what I'm about to explain. For some of those people who are already into insects and bees and all that, you're already very familiar with what I'm about to explain. So you have some people who are workers. They understand the value of work. They understand how it helps them not only benefit them financially, it can help you physically. It can help you mentally. We are meant to work. We're not meant to just lay on our butts all day, every day. The human body is meant to do some work. So you might not be able to pull the workload like me. Does that mean that you're bad, that you can't work? No, and I wish that people would stop thinking this way. The hive has to thrive. Basically, if the worker bee does not work, and then we have clones. So clones don't work. They're lazy. They lay around all day, every day. The worker bee makes the hive thrive. The clones, they even convince other worker bees not to work. So then nobody's working. So clones are lazy. They don't want to work. They convince other people not to work. They even attack other people not to work. They feel that is their goal. Their mission at life is not working. So honestly, you don't want one clone in the hive, because the hive will die. If every bee in the hive does not work, how is work going to get done? How is the mama bee going to pop out these babies? How is flowers going to get pollinated into honey? How are we going to be pollinating the flowers out here? How is anything going to work? The ecosystem perishes. It collapses. And I mean, it's no wonder why there's a lot of companies where I am that are closing. You've got a lot of clones in positions they do not need to be in. You've got a lot of manager clones. You've got a lot of people who are in positions that they don't need to be in. I don't know how they got there. I don't care, but that's the fact of the matter. And that's also going to make sense for some of those people who want to know why they're being mistreated. That's why. You have worker bees and you have clones. And you have clones who want to convince worker bees not to work anymore. And you have some worker bees who are just never going to do that. Why do management harass people? I did tell you about the clone, right? Some of them are lazy. My mother always says this, and it makes me mad, but it's true, because they can. Which is true, and she backs it up by saying, well, if they knew they were going to get caught, they wouldn't have did it. which is true. I mean, a lot of people do things that are not right. They do things wrong just because they can, just because they know that they can get away with it. Temper. Some people just have a really bad temper they cannot rise above. Some people think that they're winning something. They don't have to be winning no money at all, no raise, no nothing. They just think that they're winning some type of control over you, some type of imitation tactics. Honestly, slavery did not work in the past. It's not working now. It's not going to work in the future. I don't know why these people keep trying to bring it back, but some things just don't work. But there's some people who think that way. We call that slave master mentality. They think that, oh, I make more money if I mistreat you. Some people just want to win. Like I said, some people have a bad temper. But it's intimidation, and some people have control issues because they cannot control themselves, and all of a sudden they think they can control you. They're broke. Stress. That's going to stress some people out. Because some people, they be sitting up here, it's not all about money. And then they ain't got no money, and they ain't acting like that no more, are they? They acting like it's about some money. Because that's realistically the world that you're in. In this dimension. If you're on a path and you get off your path, if you don't admit that you're off your path, you're not going to get yourself back on your path. And the same thing that has to do with your financial path, the same thing that has to do with relationship path, everything. If you don't admit to yourself that you've lost some money or that money is slacking somewhere here, then you're not going to see to yourself other options to make up for that. And so I'm telling you, there's plenty of people out here who would not even admit it to themselves. They would not even open up their bank account and see what negatives are going on. They're scared. They're too scared. And some of those people are your managers. A lot of those managers don't have experience. Like, they weren't worker bees. They didn't start from the bottom and then work up to the top and get raises. A lot of them got hired as the top, and they don't go in the back with us. Like, the people, I'm usually the person who feeds the pits of hell. They don't come back here with us and ever work with us. They've never touched a piece of machinery ever. But I remember there was one manager who got hired like that, and he was asking me, how do I get more respect from my subordinates? I told him, you got to come back here and work with us, man, and we would see more respect. We would be able to give it to you. People stop hollering at them a little bit less. But it's a tough position. It really is. You need to be selfless. So this is the main reason why you need to be selfless. A lot of people don't believe, this is what I was mentioning earlier, how most managers make less than you. Whenever I start a company, it's always going to be at least minimum 5 years. I'll be trying to make it longer if people don't annoy me. But, or at least a year. Every company has been at least a year. But seniority and knowing what you're doing will get you paid more. So honestly, when I was a manager and I was of this photo company, and I was getting paid like $1,600, and most managers are on a salary, which means they're only going to get paid once a month. And some managers do negotiate their contract to be hourly, and I believe that they're like probably the only ones making something in that position. And everything all depends. Every situation depends. But when I was making salary, and mind you, as a manager, if none of my employees showed up, I have to do all of their job, including my job on top. So a lot of my employees weren't showing up, and it was too much. That's when the job ends up not being worth it, because you're going to get paid the same whether you put in extra work or you don't. So that's one of those positions where you really don't want to put in extra, because you're going to be running yourself ragged. You really need your employees there to help you out. So one of the girls that was there for me, she was getting overtime hours because she was the only one who was reliable to show up for these hours. So in 1 week, she had made $1,600. And so that's basically the same amount that I made in a month. So think about it. If I was not mature, if I was not selfless, and I saw that this employee, who gets a lower rate than me, but she put in more grind time is what some of us call it. She put in more time to work. That's why she got paid equivalent to me. So you see, do you understand why a lot of people are like, the job is not worth any manager to be starting drama. And if your manager's starting drama, I'm telling you, they're brand new at this, what we call work thing. There's a lot of people who will be like 40, 50, who's never even had a real job, and they're getting management jobs just because they look like they could do the position. There's people who are 20 years old who are up there. I want to talk about my last warehouse I was at real quick. There was this young man. There was 2 kids up there, 20 years old. Now, mind you, the warehouse is hiring new people every night, 60 new people every night. So Friday night, these effers, these 20-year-olds can write up, try and get rid of 70 people on a Friday night. What a waste of money. And lawsuits are a waste of money too. But so it's really made no sense to me the way that some managers do what they do. Like, it's good business for them to at least leave you alone while you work. Like, lawsuits are not good business. Just firing people just because you have that power and you are power hungry and power happy is not good business either. My phone is about to die. Let me see what the... Oh, I'm on 5%. Damn. Lawsuits. Let's talk about lawsuits. Let's talk about if you're going through any type of egregious treatment. And usually, like, everybody starts this conversation off, well, you can only do this if you're actually being really mistreated. And that annoys me, because the only reason why somebody is looking into doing something as hard as filing a lawsuit is because they're being egregiously mistreated. First of all, it's the principle about this, okay? The reason why we're doing this in the first place, because this is not easy. It's very hard. Malpractice is harder. But why are we doing this? Because we want the workplace to be a better place for me and you. It's that simple. Suing the place for money. You just want money. You just want easy money. First of all, you putting in the applications to file these complaints are not even going to be easy. So I don't even understand how that lie got formed. Usually people who say stuff like that are not the type of people who even go in the court of law and fight for themselves. And another thing I wish the most is that I wish that, like, especially when I was putting in lawsuits and everything and complaints, I wish that other people, especially people who got treated worse than me, or people who didn't get, people got treated just as bad or not as bad, but it was still something they needed to report. I wish they would. Like, I saw one girl miscarry a baby because how the managers were stressing her at the warehouse. I wish she would report it. If everybody would report, if just 2 people would report, if 15 people would report what's going on with them at work, your work environment would change tomorrow. One of the places, Waffle House, when I sued them, the man who showed up, my friends who still work there tell me, no, he doesn't mess with anyone. And it's been 10 years now. He's like, no, he still doesn't mess with anyone. One person makes a difference. At Northside Hospital, the woman who wrongfully terminated me, they got rid of her right after the lawsuit. I'm not allowed to talk about any of this. Whatever. But that's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people won't take the steps because they feel like it doesn't do anything. It does do stuff. Even if these people come and tell you not, it does do stuff. Everything is illegal until we fight to make it legal. That's how the laws work. We make these laws. We make people act right. You can go home anonymously, silently, and report what someone does to you. Because what? If somebody's not mistreating you, then there's nothing to report, right? Anyways, number 1, complain to corporate and complain to the institutes that your company has asked you to put your complaints in with. Honestly, I say that with a grain of salt because I feel like it doesn't do anything. Now, complaining to corporate, yeah. Honestly, most bosses and CEOs and executives, and they don't know what people are doing underneath of them. A lot of people who own businesses don't even know that managers are mistreating people underneath of them. So sometimes corporate coming down to visit the location, walking around, asking people, are you okay? What's going on? Sometimes that can nip a problem in the butt. Usually the problem will persist. 100% of the time the problem is going to persist. But it can delay or pause any mistreatment towards you. Also, I think it's a wonderful thing. Let the owner know what's going on. Like I said, they usually don't know. The people who are higher above, usually they be lying on the manager right above them. Keep a journal. As soon as the first incident happens, and so I like to keep my journals on the notepad of my phone. So right after my shift, right after something happens, I will call these places I'm supposed to call, and then I will write it down in my notepad. I'll write down the little key numbers they want you to keep, who's been bothering me, the date, a quick summary of what happened. It's going to help you do serious work later. Keeping track of your timeline. So you're going to hear me refer back to that a lot. Timeline, timeline, timeline. Email your attorney state general that is within your state. You can call, but they're going to tell you to email anyways. They basically want you to write a little paper. So that's what I've said. Go to your journal and grab your timeline, because I like to do it on my phone. When I need to send emails, I'll copy and paste in the emails. That's simpler for me and much easier for me because I got too much going on. And if I need to put any more description, I'll write it in there. This is blah, 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 blah. That happened on blah, 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 blah. Send. So they're going to ask for your information. And for me with the Attorney State General, it was pissing me off. I was like, what do you need my information for? You need to go get them. Tell other people at your job if they're being mistreated, they need to go put in their experiences and what happened with them, with the Attorney State General too. But you must be careful as you educate other people at your job, because some people are immature and they'll attack you for that if they see that you're helping other people. He has to get more than one complaint about the same company. He will get your information. When he gets more than one complaint, he will go in and sue the company. He or she, they. It depends who's ever in charge of your state. They will sue the company. You will get a check. So the way that it goes is they're going to split up everyone who complained, who they sued on behalf for them, and he sends out checks for them. I did do this for a company in the past, and the Attorney State General did send me a check in my state of Georgia, down here in Atlanta. So thanks, Chris Carr. When you were in office, you did help somebody. At this point, if I was you, I would apply for some food stamps. Because if you're able to, not everyone is going to be able to get every type of benefit that their state is able to provide for them. But it doesn't hurt to try, and definitely try, because that's going to be at least $200 that you could save, and that could be other money that you could apply to a bill or gas money or whatever have you. But yeah, I don't want to make I don't want to piss too many people off, because a lot of people get pissed off because a lot of people cannot get food stamps, especially where I live. That's another video, but The Office is definitely playing right now in my state. I know in the state of Georgia, they're going to ask you for a separation letter. Some places don't give you a separation letter. Just tell them I don't have it. You cannot get it if you quit, though. There are loopholes to every rule. If you had to quit due to constructive discharges and you're being harassed, that might be a loophole. Let me just tell you the rules is that they tell you that you cannot get it if you quit. Talk to a lawyer, to a wrongful termination lawyer, to an employment lawyer, to a harassment lawyer. Talk to a lawyer that is over the workplace. A lot of people feel that they don't need a lawyer for their situation. To be honest with you, when I think back on all my situations, I actually wish I would have had a lawyer. Especially when it got to those cases where I went into settlements and mediations. The truth be told, in my country, if you don't have a lawyer for any type of court proceedings, they're not going to take you seriously. They're going to walk all over you. They're going to abuse you. They're going to lowball you. That's the way that it is. I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong. I'm telling you the rules. Maybe you can keep moving around because my phone keeps dying. New things. That's what I get for trying to fuck with new money. File a complaint with your state EEOC. And a lot of people say, I'm going to say this first, a lot of people say that your state EEOC doesn't do anything. I know where I'm at right now. In Atlanta, Georgia, the state EEOC is not, they don't do anything. It's very rare. It's very rare. But to push your interview, like for where the state that I'm at right now, the interviews are not going to be available till next year. Something crazy like that. Each state is different though, because I remember my friend telling me that she went through filing a complaint in Michigan and they did everything within a week. And also, I mean, I remember one company I had done in Georgia and everything had went within about a month. But then another company, things took about a year. And then so many cases, like a lot of intake officers just throw it out without taking any real consideration of any details, period. It depends on the heart of the intake officer, if they have justice in their heart or not. But yeah, that's why a lot of people say that the state EEOC does nothing. But anyways, to push, they might be able to do something for your case. So to push your interview after you file your application online, they'll tell you online where you can go meet with the intake officer in person, and you take your case number and well, like I know, like for example, in my state they're open from Tuesdays to Thursdays from 9 a.m. and I tell people 11 a.m. and you would rather want to get there at 9 a.m. when they open, and so you can talk to an intake officer there and push your case along quicker. So if the state's EEOC does nothing, and I mean some cases they do, go for the UN EEOC, which are the federal something. They do something every time. Even when I have contacted them, they do something every time. Some people put in a complaint with BBB. I never done that. I don't see too much benefit from that, but plenty of people tell me that it benefits because it's a credible website telling people that these people are doing fair business or not. A lot of people do look at BBB. It's also going to remind you of food stamps. They're also going to ask you if you went to the EEOC, the state EEOC, and also if you got any help, which would be the best time to tell them if you did not receive any help. If no one does nothing, Department of Labor of your state always does something as well. And so if EEOC does not do anything and it was something that was in their jurisdiction, they go to them and they fine them for not doing anything. The Department of Labor within your state can align you with any other programs that can help you with benefits that may be able to help pay for any bills that you may be slacking to pay for while you're going through a hardship. Is O.S.H.A. O.S.H.A does deal usually with safety and harassment and complaints, but they also they also deal with harassment. They usually deal with safety environment though. But there's also a portion in there, they hook you up with harassment through the Department of Labor. The thing about O.S.H.A, I'm glad I wrote this down, is they don't want to help you, and they're one of those institutes similar with the food stamps, but all these other places will help you if you quit. So O.S.H.A doesn't want to help you if you quit. But all these other places I told you will help you, even if you do for some reason that you need to leave. Because some people are still on old school traditional like rules and laws, and they're just feeling like there's no reason why you should quit. There's nothing that's, you know, so bad that you should quit. But is treatment that is so bad that some people need to go. It's not just keeping your sanity. There are some people up here that do mean people physical harm. Some people do want to kill people up here at these jobs, and they don't think about the consequences until after. Some people don't even realize consequences after. But some people are at serious hostile work environments that they really need to go. And you still need to report what happened. The National Labor Retaliation Board. I wish I would have learned about them long ago, which is a great one for me to tell you, because they handle, like, when you put in a complaint and the company is going to mistreat you, which, like, about 150% time they are, you throw a complaint over with those people so they can deal with that. It's like at the end, because I feel that it's most impactful, which is to put in a Google review. Everybody sees Google review. It's more impactful than you think. I know it might seem silly, but everyone looks at that, common people and the boss. Even if you put in a complaint with corporate and the boss didn't see that, well, they're going to see the Google review. So good luck to those people that may have a case, and I will see you in the next video.